Good morning, it's Jonathan Barratt with the morning debrief for May the 20th. The current time is 8 a.m. A bit of a roller coaster on equities last night. Still equities still under pressure concerning the decision by Germany to impose that short selling ban. Obviously Europe was quite weak, that led into the States. Interesting though, we've seen a little bit of a bounce in the currencies. US dollar slightly weaker across the board. It was the first time for a couple of days. Also gold under quite a bit of pressure, and oil bounces back up through that 70-50 level. So looks to see that very good support there for the local market, for the crude market. The local market also closed down just up a fraction, which was good, 43.50, and I think that's also quite positive. But let's have a look at that. Let's go through, and 43.96 was where that SPY closed on SICOM. So that wasn't too bad. Okay, let's have a look at just some of the news, and just a little bit of a wrap there. Okay, I guess starting in Europe is probably the key. Stoic was down 2.92%. The FTSE was down 2.81%, and the DAX down 2.72%. The CAC was up 2.92%. Obviously, all concerns there, and this is just investors exiting the market. One of the things to note there is that equities were down, gold was also down. So I think there's been a bit of a shift in theory, a shift in thought at the moment, because gold are certainly under quite a bit of pressure, and you'll see that that could be just a US dollar related trade, or people in the currency markets are getting quite comfortable with what's occurring. Maybe it's the mums and dads jumping out of the equity markets that's causing these markets, equity markets, to come under pressure. Okay, let's have a look over stocks commodity slide on German short selling. We have got a rebound in euro, which we've mentioned, so that's not too bad. I guess that's probably the bit of the major news that came out. I think in terms of the economic news, we based Fed raises the 2010 US forecast and lower unemployment, so that's certainly something which is a little bit better, certainly helped the market. Obviously, the data really didn't do too much to the markets in America, and that's not a bad thing, even the stocks in oil. Okay, so let's now have a look at just the general things which we do follow. Let's first of all start with the dollar, the DAC, the dollar index, which is a big one. As you can see, quite a bit of a reversal here. And as you can see, we're right on these highs here. So whether or not we expect, and I think we do, start to expect a little bit of a turnaround here in sentiment for the US dollar, and probably see US dollar come a little bit under pressure. So let's see how that goes. That has caused a nice bounce in the Aussie, 84.89. So quite comfortable about that. Whether or not this is the lower end of the range, we're not sure. It really has to get back through that level there, which is at 85. Once it gets through 85, 20, 30, then we can be comfortable about calling it a low. Having a look at the euro now, euro 124.10. You know, is it a bit of a bounce? Expect that volatility to be there. We're still along very tiny bits of euro as well as Aussie, and we're just looking for that before we can climb in and buy some more. Okay, having a look at some of the commodities now. Gold was the big one, 11.93, and as you can see, it's come off pretty hard off this area. Now that, in my mind, feels as if there's a top in place. The trend is broken. I'm happy to sell rallies, and you could see it come back and support this trend line, which sees around about that 11.80. So I think a little bit of downward pressure there on gold. When you look at some of the others, crude, for instance, a great little bounce back there for crude, 71.18. As I said, I think 70 is a very, very strong support level for it, and would be encouraged about buying crude on a dip. Now, if you look at the hourly chart here, or even the 15-minute, doesn't matter, but let's look at the hourly. It's probably a little bit, well, something's a bit busy. Anyway, you can see the 15-minute. This all looks good stuff, back to 70, and I think you can buy it. So I don't mind that trade at all. Having a look at copper. Copper bounced off a little bit as well, which was good. We've got a very small position on copper as well, and probably expect that to continue to trade okay as well. In fact, I don't mind actually adding to copper positions around these levels. Okay, let's have a look at the SPY, APC1. That's one we want, the continuous. Now, this is going to be an interesting because I think at the moment, let's try and get that up. I mean, we've got a little bit of a bounce here, which is good. and I think if that continues, then we could see some good support. So I think there's good support 43.50, and I would not expect to see it sort of bounce off those levels quite nicely. So there we go. Let's just try and get a good daily chart there. As you can see, like it's all exhaustive stuff to the downside. So like let's try. We want a support level, so let's see how that trades. Now there has been a bit of a request for me to look at some equities. So what we'll do is just look at a few of them. Obviously the majors there. BHP's one. That's BHP in New York. BHP. There we are. I'm just trying to get that up. BHP. ASX, there we go. Now this is obviously a lot to do with what's happening locally, but there's good support down here, and probably expect that area to hold for the time being. If that area holds, then I would look at it. So I think comfortably back to that 3,400, $34, $35. I think it's not a bad thing to look at, and I think that's okay. Another one which I look at would be ANZ, and just checking the financial sector. And as you can see, they're still consolidating, and I think dips once again to these levels here can be looked at, that 2100 area. I don't mind that at all, and I expect it to go sideways for a little length of time. But okay, so just quickly, let's move back onto the calendar. We've got consumer inflation expectations in Australia, average weekly wages. There is the Kiwi budget coming out. We've got retail sales in the UK. And we've got leading indicators in the US, which will be very widely watched, so very important there. Eurozone consumer confidence, I think, is perhaps one of the most important ones to keep an eye on, just purely because we've got concerns there in Europe. So if the confidence is there, that will give us confidence into some of these equity markets and those currency markets. So that in itself, I think, is something that will be widely watched. Of the positions we've got, we're long Aussie, we're long Euro, all at levels which aren't good. They are small positions. We closed out that gold last night with a small loss. We're still long sugar, and I'm looking to get long some copper from these levels. But I'll let you know on tweet when that happens. Well, that's about it from me today. Good luck, and let's see how the markets react to things. See ya.